everybody, welcome into the preview show Refreshed by Coca-Cola. I'm Alex Weaver here with Jonathan Merriman. Denny Hamlin gets 6 more playoff points. He wins at Kansas, 5 wins of the season, going to his favorite track in Martinsville.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin right now, Chris Gabehart, they're on fire. We had the chance to sit down with him earlier in the year, and the confidence that's just coming out of that team right now, they're clicking on all cylinders. You know, they've got one of the best drivers, he's got one of the best crew chiefs, and the team is really performing, I think, at the top level of the sport. I think him and Martin Truex Jr. in terms of how the team's working, they're right there neck and neck. I think those two guys, Alex, are the 2 favorites to go to Homestead at this point. But Denny Hamlin, back to the Denny Hamlin of old, looking really, really, really good.
Yeah, well, Denny Hamlin is part of the Coca-Cola Racing family, but the other 2 part of that family that are in the playoffs still is Joey Logano, Kyle Larson. 2 opposite sides at Martinsville. Joey Logano, really good there, loves the place. Kyle Larson hates it.
Yeah, it's really, it's the tale of 2 tapes. Although Joey Logano's, finishing history at that racetrack may not be, a good indicator of how good he is. Defending winner of this race. We all remember the battle with Martin Truex Jr. last year. I think he'll be strong again this year. He's going to have to be strong. And Kyle Larson, if there's one track on the circuit that Kyle Larson could throw away and have a mulligan, it would be Martinsville. Yeah. He's no good at this racetrack. He needs to finish on the lead lap, keep the fenders on it. A lot easier said than done because so much can happen. You can get behind the 8 ball early at this place.
Martinsville is kind of unpredictable as well because anybody can win there at the Paperclip. So there's some other cars that we can look for. The 9's normally pretty good there. The 18, you can't count out the Busch brothers, but who else can we look to get in at Martinsville?
Clint Bowyer's good there. You're talking about a guy who's not in the playoffs. Brad Keselowski's good there. He's not in the playoffs. Jimmy Johnson, he is the king of that place. He's not in the playoffs. So I don't think that, the guys good on points in the playoff picture, Alex, are really going to be that effective if somebody like that wins. But where you're looking at now is guys below that cutoff line. If you have a guy like Brad Keselowski, Jimmy Johnson, Clint Bowyer win that race, then that takes an opportunity away from the guys below the cut line. It shortens that deadline up for them. So I think the guys who want to win that race are the guys below the cut line. They don't want anybody coming in there playing spoiler.
All right, well, obviously the short track of Martinsville, it's key to keep your car clean and to avoid damage as much as possible. Hard to do at Martinsville, but what's the key to getting around that?
The key to getting around that place is just you have to stay out of trouble. I mean, you've seen very few people in the history of that racetrack be able to go a couple laps down and end up coming back. One thing that could save you if that happens, though, I mean, this place just breeds cautions. The end of these races take quite a long time to play out because people get desperate. We know the playoff situations at these racetracks, especially the bull rings in the playoffs. I mean, the racing action is just fantastic. People are going to use the bumpers. That's why we have them on the race car. People are going to door people. That's why we have fenders on these race cars. So I would imagine, we all saw the Xfinity race after Kansas, emotions boiling over. I think you could see that at Martinsville because you can end your playoff run at the beginning of the round of 8. You can no longer really rely on points. You're going to have to win.
Yeah. All right, well, who's your pick to win at Martinsville? We've talked on backseat drivers earlier this week. I think I have an idea of who you're going to win.
I think the bad luck for the 9 team turned at Kansas. I really do. I think that, being able to race their way in, pointing their way in, they've really had kind of really fantastic efforts of not giving up, other than Dover where they couldn't run anymore. Talladega they didn't give up. The Roval they didn't give up. In Kansas they had to go up there and they had to finish second to get in the playoffs. So I think Chase Elliott's luck, his luck turns around. I think he makes it to Homestead finally.
All right, well, I'm surprised that we're actually saying this, but Kyle Busch hasn't won in a really long time. I think it's been 18 or 19 weeks. So the 18 is going to replace those 18 weeks and he's going to get in victory lane. Time for him to show everybody why he's one of the best at short tracks.
I think he needs to.
All right, Martinsville, we're racing at the Paperclip, and 8 drivers are still vying for the championship in the NASCAR playoffs. That's coming up Sunday, 3 p.m. on NBCSN, and we'll see you guys right back here next week.